Hey everyone, Andrig with Andrig's Aircooled Technology, back with an update on the dual inlet Evolution 2 fans that are in process. And I've got mold is being machined right now. Expected to finish the mold machining and create samples by the end of this month now. So March 31st. That's when they'll ship, expected to get to me around April 7th or so. Well, they'll probably ship a little after March 3rd. That's when they finish actually producing some samples, and then of course they'll box them up, etc., and get them shipped to me for my evaluation of them, make sure that they fit right, etc. Everything is good. So the way this process kind of works, right, is I submitted my design. They did a design for manufacturing analysis of it. We went through that process. They complained about certain things in terms of some wall thicknesses and some other things, and I made changes to the model accordingly, and minor changes, some draft angles that they wanted added that I didn't have, and like I said, some wall thickness things in certain areas. And we changed the design as best we could in all those things, and I think in some respects there, the design for manufacturing analysis is like kind of overboard in terms of some of the things that they pointed out, and I pointed out that, hey, I make these other things in the same material, whatever, and it has wall thicknesses that are thicker than this, and it works just fine. So so there's some trepidation on their side. We'll see how that kind of comes out. So there is a possibility of some issues, but I really don't think so. So once I get those samples by April 7th, if they pass through all my own quality control tests, everything fits right, there's nothing odd in terms of the way they came out, in terms of warping or sinking or anything that really caused any issues in terms of the product, and then I'll airflow test them again, etc. But as long as those samples check out, then we'll go to a full manufacturing run of those, and not really sure how long that will take. I'm guessing that will take a month or a little longer to do that and get them to me, so that we might be talking 4 to 6 weeks or so. But considering that, I mean, that puts us still in May or early June at the latest, if everything is fine. So I might have these on the market ready to go in late May or early June, being optimistic. I'm not promising anything here because we don't really know. If there are issues with the way the samples come out, whether it's just simple fit issue, maybe in the mounts or something odd like that, and as long as there's nothing kind of catastrophic, though, we iterate on that process. So we'll make design change, they'll remachine the mold, we'll do samples again, and we start from there again. So each one of these iterations may take considerable amount of time. So I think it's like the machining process is like 18 business days typically in this particular vendor's case. So it will drag out longer and into the summer if there are issues. If there's no issues, which I'm kind of hopeful there won't be issues, because one is like this whole half of the fan, along with the mount and everything, is identical to what I already make in the Evolution 1 fan. It's obviously it's this side of the fan that's different and unique. So that's where the unique geometry is, etc. So I don't really anticipate having a lot of issues. If there are issues, I think they're going to be fairly minor and fairly easy to correct. So I'm very hopeful that the first round of samples will be good. We'll move straight to production, and we'll have product on the market for you fairly quickly, and that will be great. So and then post that, I will also make a video about, hey, when would you use the Evolution 2 versus the Evolution 1, etc. And so we'll get through that to help give you guys some guidance on what to order, because a lot of people will kind of default to, hey, how much, give me the thing with the most possible airflow, which is fine, but I gave this example, I think, in another video as well. Did have a customer with the original Evolution 2 fan, that was the squirrel cage design that I stopped selling last year, that they were overcooling their engine. They couldn't get their cylinder head temps even up to 200 degrees. They were running the Holley Terminator EFI system, which is set to cylinder head temperature to reach 200 degrees to consider the engine warm enough to then move out of learning mode and into closed loop mode, and also to stop fuel enrichment, right? So your engine's warm enough, so I don't really need to add extra fuel into the mixtures, right? So that leads to a way over-rich mixture driving around, poor fuel economy as a result, and really smelly exhaust with unburnt fuel coming out, because that's what's really going to happen there, and other issues as well, and even potentially on that engine probably not getting oil temperatures high enough to prevent acid formation and to prevent ring wear, which is really the biggest issue. You got to get your oil temperatures up, I say, to around 180 degrees. The published research through the SAE says 150 to 170 degrees as a range before you start seeing less iron in your oil samples, which that iron comes primarily from your rings, as obviously, and cylinder walls. So since that's the typical thing, and of course for typical air-cooled engines, they have iron cylinders and they have iron-based rings. So you end up with significant amount of iron in your oil samples. That means you're getting ring wear, cylinder wall wear that you shouldn't get. That's why it's important for engine temperature to come up, and specifically really oil temperature. If you get your oil temperature high enough, your engine's going to last a long time, right? So that's a thing. We don't want that situation for you. So that customer would have been better off with an Evolution 1 fan. They lived in Nevada. It's hot there, right? And they need some additional cooling, but they don't need so much additional cooling that all of a sudden you're just going to end up with an engine that just doesn't last, right? Acid formation in the oil is bad for your bearings. Low oil temperature is bad for your cylinder wall and ring wear, and then of course eventually that leads to low compression and a rebuild of your engine, right? So we don't want those things. So it's a little guidance on that. So we'll come and really you need some instrumentation on your car, and really oil temp gauge is probably one of your most important, and a lot of people have that. And then secondarily, cylinder head temps. If you know your cylinder head temps and your oil temps, and you can have good oil temps because maybe you overcool your oil with an external oil cooler, whatever, and have bad cylinder head temps, right? So, those are really the two things you want to watch for. It's one of the reasons I think that, when GM did the Corvair, they all came standard with cylinder head temp gauge. You want to see what those cylinder head temps are and keep those reasonable as well. So that's it for now. This could be really soon. Really hopeful, maybe end of May, early June, be shipping these out to customers. I am not going to run a pre-order on these. I'm going to wait till I have inventory and just start selling them once I have inventory. So there's reasons for that. Maybe I'll do a future video. I've only done one pre-order. This is the Evolution 1 fans, and that's really was kind of a problem because of the delays and stuff that occurred. Don't really want to put customers in that situation anymore with if there's potential delays and I'm being a little over optimistic and I start to pre-order, then people wait a long time and it gets frustrating for people. Don't want to put people in that situation, so we're not going to do that for this, but this could be early. So hopefully we'll get these things end of May, early June, have full inventory, be ready to rock and roll. It will still be a somewhat print-to-order product because the inlet of these things will be 3D printed still. It's a new design. It has removed all the problems I had with some of the early stuff that I did with this, and different material as well to improve the ductility of it. So fan shrouds many times are not exactly square. They sheet metal can warp, etc. A lot of things happen there, and so that part has to be a little more forgiving. I've done that with the material change, and and we don't have any dependency anymore on alternator or generator size, diameter size. So I took care of that while I was still shipping the other product as well with an updated version, beefed up kind of everywhere it needs to be beefed up, and I'll probably move that to injection molding later on. The mold for the inlet is significantly more expensive. It's about another 33% higher in cost up front for them. So I'm going to 3D print, and I can 3D print these actually at a really good price. Pricing wise on this, I haven't set the price on this yet. The original price of the squirrel cage was $199. I believe that with all my changes, the injection molding, etc., right now I know that the costs, right, and my costs have gone down, so I will reduce the price. I haven't really figured out how much I want to reduce the price yet, but they'll come in at a lower price point than what I was selling before, so it'll be good for you guys. And I don't want to charge the same amount when my costs have reduced. So we're going to bring that down. Haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put that. Have a reasonable idea and do a little bit more math on all my costs. One other little update is right now the Evolution 1 fans, the Evolution 2 fans, the future Evolution 2 fans, they share the same mounting system and everything. And they come with a flat washer and I think I have one right here, yeah. A flat washer and a flanged nut, right, to secure it. And this works fine, except with a flat washer, I do require the use of Loctite. So I have been investigating an ability to, the reason I ship with this flat washer is this is a custom size washer. So it's for a 12 millimeter bolt, in terms of that's standard. That's no problem. But the outside diameter needed to be, exactly right to kind of cover, the opening properly, right? Because you got kind of two flat side, two curved side, so that it fully distributes the load onto the fan as it's clamped down, and doesn't get stuck in, sitting on the mount instead of the fan, right? So that it stays torqued properly. So this requires the use of Loctite, because obviously this is just right hand, regular old right hand thread. The direction the fan spins, it wants to spin off the nut, and so this requires Loctite. Obviously, with the original fan, they had a custom spring washer, essentially, right, that you stuck on there. It's a big, huge thing, right? I don't have one sitting here. I'd show that, but so I was like, well, can I find a spring washer that will work? And essentially, there's nothing on the market, right, that kind of meets what I need. And so, but in some investigation with some companies and talking back and forth, I did find a company that would custom make a spring washer for me that is the right dimensions. So essentially, when it's flat, it'll be the same outer dimension as my custom flat washer. when it's, and that will take the need for using Loctite on the nut away, right? So I've been wanting to do that for quite some time. I got a company that would do it and do it at a reasonable cost, at the volume that I needed to cover both the Evolution 1 fans and the Evolution 2 fans in the future. So that's already in process. I think I paid the invoice on that last week, and they start manufacturing now. When I get those, I will start shipping new instructions with the Evolution 1 fans, that you don't need the Loctite anymore, same torque specs, etc. Just don't need any Loctite. You'll just be able to torque it down and be done with it. Set it and forget it. That's what I kind of like. So, and not have to use Loctite. Obviously, you can still use Loctite if you want, but it just won't be necessary. That custom spring washer will, provide the tension that's necessary to keep that thing from spinning off. So that's in process, and I think that's just a nice improvement. One less thing you have to kind of know about and simplified instructions. It's just going to be, put the thing together, screw it on there, get it in your fan shroud, etc. Torque it down, using the alternator or generator pulley as your place to hold, and you'll be good, and you won't have to worry about it. So that's exciting, to finally get kind of something there that is, much better from an installation perspective, make it easier for you. You don't have to do the Loctite. And so that's a little extra tidbit as well. So appreciate it. Looking really forward, excited to, this is moving forward quicker than I expected. I wasn't really expecting even, samples until July originally. So now we're talking into May. So probably. Or even production at the end of May. So we'll see what happens there, and I'll keep you guys updated. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.